Hello, my name is Shah, and tonight we will be discussing boundaries. Please stay tuned. Hey y'all, I'm Shar and you are watching Essence of Shar. And today we're talking about boundary setting, setting personal boundaries with people. And I am super excited to be discussing this topic because this is so important to me, and it's as well, it needs to be something that's very important to you if it's not already. Boundary setting literally saved my life last year, and I'm so grateful that I have been an advocate for myself, engaged in therapy, because it was necessary. And for a lot of people, therapy is necessary to overcome a lot of hurdles and traumas from our past experiences and our past, and even sometimes our present that we haven't fully or properly dealt with. And so if you're not in therapy, well, welcome to Essence of Sharp, baby, because I'm a counselor, I'm a therapist. So you can get it, get the cow, get the milk. What is it? Get the, why buy the cow when you get the milk for free? This is free milk here, and that's okay. I'm okay with it because I want to help you. So we're talking about boundary setting. My therapist explained to me, and we were in the process of setting boundaries in my life, personally, professionally, with everybody. And it was my personal journey to self-love, and I'm so glad I took the initiative, and I'm so glad, so grateful God blessed me with an excellent counselor who helped me to really, because I thought I knew my worth, but I obviously did not fully know my worth because I didn't understand boundary setting. And so let's first of all explore, got my binder. Let's explore what is a boundary, okay? Boundaries are guidelines, rules or limits that a person creates to identify reasonable, safe, and permissible ways for other people to behave towards them and how they will respond when someone passes their limits. You teach people how to treat you. Okay, I'm gonna say that twice. You teach people how to treat you. People are gonna, they will only treat you the way you allow them to treat you. If someone, now this, unless you're like in a situation where someone's physically bigger than you and harm you, but as far as like emotionally, in conversation, the relationships that you have, control or a say in, you teach people how to treat you. And we're talking about effective working relationships here. And so why is it important to set boundaries? Let's think practically here. When you drive, the law has set in place boundaries to keep you safe. Ergo, the speed limit. You have maximum speed limits. I don't think you have minimum speed limits, but there's the speed limit set in certain areas, because if people are going too fast or too slow, it will pose a danger, and it's so important to obey those limits, even though sometimes I speed a little bit, but we're getting better. But and so it's a danger, and so it is with you. Are you not more important than the road? Are you not more important than the highway? There needs to be limits set in place. Whether somebody is driving too fast in your life or too slow, and you can take that metaphorical phrase however you want it to mean, or however it needs to be meant in your life. You need limits on how you allow people to treat you, because sometimes people coming too fast, saying the wrong thing, too harsh, is not good for you, and you'll be the one that will suffer. You'll be the one that's in danger. You're the one who has to deal with that. And so this is your life, baby. This is your life, and you're responsible for it. You're responsible for your own happiness, and you have the power, you have the authority, you have every right to dictate who can say what, who can treat you any type of way, what friends you choose to have, what you will and won't allow people to say to you, do to you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You have the right, the God-given right, and it's your choice. So you can do that. Did you not know you can set a boundary? I'm about to tap in, honey, and your life is about to change, and your mama might not like it. But that's okay. Yes, with your mama. You have every right to set a boundary with your parents, with your spouse, with your children, with your friends, on the job, okay? You have a right to do that. And so if you're under 18 and you still living in your mama's house, now we might have to talk. You can email me, because there's certain limits, you know. Some things you just can't say, you know, but once you get grown. But even still, you can still, there's still boundaries that need to be set in place. So we'll get into that. So before we can really delve into the how do we get there, well, sure, I don't know how to set a boundary. Okay, well, let's understand the history. 9 times out of 10, if you're not setting boundaries now as an adult, or even however old you are, if you're not setting boundaries, 9 times out of 10, it stems from childhood. In your childhood, you weren't allowed. It wasn't allowed for you to express yourself, expressing your opinion. Maybe you were a people pleaser, and so you just didn't have that right or authority to really be who you are, verbalize what was important. And unfortunately, this is something that's very prevalent in the Black community, that I've seen, I've experienced for myself. I've seen a lot of my friends. It's synonymous, and it's like, this is not okay. Let's fix the culture. If you say what you like and what you do not like, you express yourself, you say, this makes me feel some type of way. When you express your opinion that's different from the opinion of an authority figure, you then become disrespectful, and you then get punished, and you need to be silent, and that is not okay. That is control, and that is manipulation and abuse. I'm sorry, but I'm exposing it, okay? Exposing the culture. That's not okay. But if you were brought up in a loving family where, okay, baby, tell me, how are you feeling? Did mommy hurt your feelings? I'm sorry about that. I'll work on that. Where the parents weren't afraid to apologize if they did you wrong. Where parents weren't afraid to be vulnerable and admit their mistakes. But when you're in that, this my house, I say, do as I say, now as I do it. I put food on the table. You into my house, you do what I say, do. You 18 and grown together. All that mess, a lot of times, boundary setting, people who have trouble setting boundaries, it stems from toxic environments like that. And sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it can happen later in life. Perhaps it was your circle of friends. Some type of traumatic situation occurred where you felt powerless and insignificant, and that your voice didn't matter, and that the only way to get through, to keep the peace, was for you to be silenced. And that is a lot of times where a lack of appropriate boundary setting comes from. Okay, I can't talk, I'm a little sleepy. So there's that. So, and if that is your story, it's okay. That doesn't mean anything is wrong with you. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. That doesn't mean you're a stupid person. That doesn't mean you're not loved, because God loves everybody, okay? It just means you have to put in a little extra work than Timmy or Susie, who didn't have that struggle, and that's okay. And you know, kudos to Timmy and Susie, because maybe they can be an example to you, to show you, okay, this is how I can set a boundary. So don't you know, give them flat, Timmy and Susie, because they have to endure your struggle. You credit them, okay? Be happy. Now you have an example. Okay, well, Timmy and Susie know how to set a boundary. Let me observe them so I can glean from that, okay? So it's all good. This is all about self-love and becoming the better version of ourselves. And you can do it. It's possible. It's feasible. Ask me how I know, because I did it. I'm here. I'm present with it. Not only that, I am teaching others how to set boundaries for themselves. And baby, our lives are changing. I feel like Oprah, yes! And it feels so good. And it's a beautiful part on this journey to self-love, to let someone know, no, I don't like that. And so while you are embarking on this journey, this process of learning how to set boundaries, because it can be intimidating to finally stand up for yourself, and even you can have this skewed mindset that if I stand up for myself, or I say how I feel, then I'm not keeping the peace, or you're so concerned with the other person will think, well, somebody just hurt your feelings. Well, if I say something, then how will they feel? they didn't care when they said what they said to you. Or maybe they didn't know that what they said or did hurt you. And so it's your job to express yourself. You're the only one who can stand up for yourself. Sometimes, people don't even know they've offended you. Sometimes people don't even realize that boundary is up because they've been so used to doing it all along. And a lot of times, it's a lot of things. So it's important for you because if it's someone you really care about, it's going to help them too. But at the end of the day, this is your life, and you have to stand up for yourself, and you have to let people know. And so with boundary setting, let's be clear with it. When you're setting a boundary, you're not intentionally doing something to hurt someone else, okay? Be clear, because I don't want you to take this and use it as a tool to manipulate people. That's not what boundary setting is. I saw that. Someone learned about boundary setting, and they used it as a mechanism to validate their manipulation and control. And like, no, baby, what is you doing? You done got this all wrong and twisted, so please don't twist it. A boundary setting is not something you can use to attack somebody. That's not what it is. A boundary setting is literally you saying, this hurts me, I don't like this, I'm making you aware, and I'm doing what I have to do to protect myself, whether that's withdrawing from something, just letting you know, but it's not something to intentionally hurt someone, to be malicious. So know that. And so understand, while you're going through this process of learning yourself, loving yourself, expressing yourself, being kind to yourself, be kind to yourself. Extend grace to yourself. If you slip up or you mess up and someone, pisses all over you and you didn't say anything, don't beat yourself up. Dang, I need to set a boundary for myself. Well, I'm stupid, I'm dumb. No. You're learning, and that's okay. And if you get it on the first try, honey, and you home run, well, good for you. But be kind to yourself. If Rome wasn't built in a day, and that's a famous phrase we love to say. And so that is something very challenging, especially if the person you need to stand up to you're scared of them. It's someone who is an authority figure to you, and you were raised in a household where respect is everything, and you don't talk to adults like that, or if the person you're standing up to, they kind of have economic control over you, like I said, if they're your parents, you live in their home, or maybe you are a stay-at-home wife or husband, and it's your spouse, and you're afraid. It's so many things. So it can be intimidating, but understand it's victory on the other side. I hate to be churchy. It's victory on the other side. It's victory on the other side, okay? On the other side of fear, there is peace. And once you do it, you're going to feel so much better. I'll say this. I had a coworker, and she struggled with boundary setting. And I was just talking to her, just not even like coaching, like, okay, you need to. I was just saying, she told me something bothered her, and I was like, I would say something, and and it's not me. You're not being disrespectful. The way they said it was blah blah blah. This girl went and confronted the individual, and she was scared out of her pants. She told me she almost peed her pants, but she came at me and said, Shar, I told them how I felt, and oh my God, I'm so scared, but I'm so proud of myself. And it's like, oh my God. And so you're gonna feel so great after you do it, and the more you do it, the easier it'll become. Practice makes perfect. And so another way to help you set boundary is explore what you like. Just sit, think, process. What do you like? What do you not like in your relationships, romantic, friendships, business? What don't you like? What makes you feel, some type of way? As people would say, and just sit and analyze who's in your life. Who makes you feel belittled? Who makes you feel uncomfortable, and why? Analyze your friend list. Do I like my friends? Why am I with these people? Are they good to me? Do they use me? Are they manipulating me? So you can begin to evaluate your circle and begin to set boundaries and just figure it out. Okay, so listen to your emotions. They're there for a reason. If someone says something to you, and even if it's through text, and you feel slighted through an email, and you feel like that felt kind of condescending, say something. And always remember, whatever you do, do it in love. Do it in love, because you'll have no regrets. And I always try to tailor my words, let my words be with grace, seasoned with salt, so that I'll know how to answer everyone. That's scripture. Because sometimes, like I said, sometimes people don't even realize they hurt you, or they may have had a bad day, and it's nothing wrong. When you come to somebody in love and you say, hey, you offended me when you said that. Did you mean to be mean? Were you trying to intentionally hurt me? And then they're like, oh my God, I am so sorry. I did not mean to. And sometimes they lie, but at least you stood up for yourself, and now they not gonna do it again. Just like when you get pulled over by the police officer for speeding, it's less likely, at least within the next 6 months, that you're going to be speeding. When the speed limit says 45, you get a ticket for going 60. Okay, your tail gonna be going 43. Okay, for the next several months, you gonna learn. And so you're teaching people how to treat you. And so it is. When you speak up for yourself, that's you enforcing the boundary. You think of it. You speed. You are a car, okay, and you standing up for yourself. You are now a police officer giving somebody a ticket. Sucker. The speed limit was 45 and you crossed it. And so figuring out what the boundaries are for you in your life, and it's so important. Even in your relationships. I'm not married, but I've spoken with people, you know what I'm saying? And so if your husband or your wife is bothering you, and you know what I'm saying, say something. If your children, your mama, your grandma, whoever, because this is your life. But like I said, always do it in love, because you never want to intentionally hurt people. Even if someone hurts you, you don't want to hurt people. And that saying, hurt people, kill that. I hate that phrase. No, hurt people don't hurt people. Emotionally immature people hurt people. People who have not healed from their hurts, people who are bitter, people who are out here with a victim mentality, people who are not healed and don't know how to regulate their emotions. They hurt people. Hurt people don't hurt people. I don't consider myself a hurt person, but I can acknowledge that I have been hurt in my past. People have hurt me. But so technically you could say I'm a hurt person. But I'm not out here hurting people. Not on purpose. And so hurt people hurt. No, that's dead. So let's kill it. But when you are setting a boundary, don't let your goal to not be intentionally hurt people. You can set boundaries in love. You can set boundaries, and that's how it should be. And it's a simple, I didn't like that. And so I'm going to ask you not to do that again. I don't feel this relationship is effective. Pay attention to the signs and see, especially when you see that their behaviors are synonymous with other people. It's not just you. They do whatever they do to other people. Oh, honey, that's how you know it's them. It's them. And then that lets you know how the severity of the extent of the boundary you need to set, whether that means cutting people off. Sometimes people have to, the only way they're going to appreciate you is by losing you. And that sucks. Doesn't that suck? Because when you love people, it's like, let me give them another chance. No. Everybody don't need another chance because they don't appreciate you. And unfortunately, sometimes people are in your life simply for character development. Don't you hate it when that happens? Like, God, did you have to send this person for me to develop my character? Couldn't you just put it in the book? I wouldn't have read it though. But sometimes the friction you're experiencing in your life is something there to help build a better you. And it sucks. But if you don't pass this test with setting boundaries, you're going to keep going through this same cycle with person after person after person. Whether that's on your job, if your boss takes advantage of you because you have a hard time saying no, so they'll give you the grunt work, especially if it's not even in your job description, and you don't stand up for yourself. Like somebody's sending you emails on your days off expecting you to check them. Like, my hours are 9 to 5. Okay, and that ain't what's going on with everyone. So learning that in friendships, what do you value? So really, you have to understand yourself and what you want to really be effective with boundary setting. If you're okay with people disrespecting you, if you're a person who disrespects people when you get angry, then maybe that, yes, on you. But so learning what you like and what you don't like. okay? And so if you don't want to be disrespected, if you don't disrespect other people when you get angry, if you don't say mean things, then that's how you can determine what's going on with your friendships. If your friends, when you make them angry, they lashing out on you, the things you've told them in confidence in private that was vulnerable, they're throwing it in your face as a way to attack you. Honey, it's a train wreck at the train station. You better do something with that. Oh, and please, if somebody's putting their hands on you, honey, you know what that boundary is, okay? Cut it. And it's not funny, but the song was funny. No. Excuse me? Someone is calling you out of your name? Then, no, if that's the character you have, though, then baby, we gotta work on that character. Because it's parallel, that's the energy you're bringing, so that's what you're being met with. But if that's not your character, you don't have to understand, you don't have to tolerate that, okay? Get it in your head. You don't have to tolerate that. Understand this. The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. You don't. I mean, we need people. What I'm saying, don't let a person think they have so much control over you where you need me. You can't make without me. No, baby. The Lord always makes a way. I'm telling you, I've had to let people go. I've lost a lot. Family, friends, I've lost a lot, okay? But the Lord replaces. The Lord removes and improves. What I say when He removes and improves. Ain't our God good? So don't ever think one person is your all, your end all be all. God is your end all be all. God is the ultimate source, honey. And just like He removed, He can replace and improve. So don't let somebody think they have control of you. So I hope that this lesson has been helpful. I hope that you will begin to set boundaries. Feel free to email me. My email is in the About Me settings if you need more help about boundary setting. And this is, oh my God, like this topic, it's so life-changing. And I see that in 2020, so many people have grasp hold to this concept of setting boundaries and toxicity and what it is, and they're cutting people, and that's good. And even let's get into social media, okay? Set boundaries. Understand you don't owe nobody an explanation for nothing. If you need to unfriend somebody, unfriend them unapologetically. This is your life. This is your decision. This is your phone bill that you're paying, okay? And if you need to unfriend, mute, and if that's the steps you need to take in order to get the courage to set a boundary with them, or that's what the final process, do what needs to be done. Block them, snooze them, mute them. And if this person is so toxic that you need to set a boundary with, that you, excuse me, the glockenspiel, that not only do you need to unfriend them, but you need to unfriend Buki and them, Tommy, Susie, Karen, everybody attaching them because it's that toxic. Cut it off. The Bible says, if my eyes offend thee, pluck it out. It's a whole nother context, though, because it's talking about sin and lust. But it's the same thing. If it offends you, if you can't, like, if somebody drives a red Cadillac, the person that is toxic to you, okay? And every time you see a red Cadillac, you kind of get a little fear in your heart. It's some boundaries, okay? That just say something to you. So it's a lot, but so set a boundary, guys. Okay, so whatever you have to do on social media, and don't be apologetic for you. If someone calls, you don't have to answer. That's the beauty of the phones. You don't owe them. If you respond to someone that you need to set a boundary with, and like in an anxious way or out of fear, you don't have to. You don't have to. We're gonna stop that. God is love. Period. And if the relationships in your life are fear-driven and not love-driven, you respond out of fear, you do out of fear, it's not love-based, be true with yourself. You need to set some boundaries. You need to expose, tell them the truth, you know, and what that means to you, because it's levels of this thing. And understand, you have to set boundaries with your family too. And sometimes family has to be cut. Just because you have the same blood running through your vein does not mean people know how to treat you, properly, and it does not excuse their abuse, and it does not validate them, and it does not mean you have to stay with them. Understand that. I don't know who said blood is thicker than water. You lie. You lying, because blood is not thicker than water. Okay, it ain't. It's not. You don't have to stay with your relatives. You don't owe nobody an explanation. And if people don't treat you, if you get more love and respect from your friends than you do your family, boop, there it is, your friends, your family. Okay? I mean, still be kind, still love people, but understand internally, put people in their place. And if you have to cut people, that doesn't mean you don't love them. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you have finally learned how to love yourself. And if somebody really wants to be back in your life, then they need to prove it. You can forgive people, but that does not mean you have to allow them back intimate access to you unless you so choose. And 9 times out of 10, they probably haven't changed, but maybe they did. And if you want to give them a chance to get back in your life again, you can. Don't give them no third chance, honey, because then you a fool. No, but I'm for real, keeping it real. So, wow, setting boundaries. Woo! This gets me so worked up because it's so important. And if you teach your children this from a young age, if we fix our boys, we won't have broken men. That's what the saying goes. And so it is with women too. If you learn it now, if you're an adult and you're broken, okay, or you feel broken, it's fine. It's all right. Now let's move forward. Let's no longer see ourselves as victims, but change the way you see yourself. Understand you are worthy. Your feelings matter, okay? Your feelings matter. They do. And you holding your tongue or biting your tongue, whatever, that's not keeping the peace. Internally, you're destructing yourself. You matter. And if someone says something like no more feelings slighted, no more going home crying because your boss or your coworker said something rude to you, even if you got to take a second, even if you got to come back 24 hours later, honey, it's your process. This is your growth. And so you can give a disclaimer. I apologize that it took me 24 hours to process this, but I have processed this and I didn't like what you said. And let's not roll on that. And I didn't like what you said. It really offended me yesterday. And you can tell if you want to or not. And I'm in the process of learning how to set boundaries for myself. And I needed to come back and let you know I didn't appreciate that. And boom, there, whatever you have to do. And I might have to do like a part 2 or something to really delve into this because it's so important. God loves you. He loves you more than anything. He loves you so much that he died on the cross. He sent his son Jesus to die on the cross just for you. He's with us. Like, that's how big his love is for us. So he didn't want us to be hurt. So love yourself with that same love. And love others with that same love and expect it in return. Because if you give dirt, you get dirt. Then if you give love, you give love. Whatever man self, that's what he reaps. So if you are good and you try to do good to others, no one deserves to be mistreated. But if you're not out here being malicious and intentionally hurting others, you don't have, don't put up with that mess. You don't have to keep that. And if you're out here, you're intentionally hurting others, intentionally being malicious, fix your character first. Because there's no need in calling the kettle black. What is it? No need in the pot calling the kettle black. Because if you're doing that too, baby, you got friends that match you. So evaluate yourself, and if that's you, change some things in yourself. Ask God to help you. And then begin to set the boundaries, or even set them still. Even if you're honest with yourself, dang, I'm toxic, and I need to cut you off, or you toxic too. Fine, okay. But if you're altruistic, you're good to people, you try very hard, then that should be, whatever you give out is what should match you. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying anybody deserves to be mistreated. I keep it real, be honest, because if that's what you draw, that's why it's there. And so change inwardly first, or change inwardly. So I hope you all have enjoyed this lesson. Boundary setting, honey. Set the boundaries and stick to it. Whatever that means. Sometimes that means you have to cut off all contact. I'm telling you, I had to cut off some toxic people. Okay. And it took like 10 good people, a few good men. It took like 10 people to convince me, like, yeah, That's crazy. You need to cut it. Cut it. Okay. And so it's good. Have people around you that love you. Listen to your feelings, baby. Your feelings are there. When you feel some type of way, this uneasiness, when you're around people, that's how you know you need to set boundaries. But when you just feel love and warmth when you're around certain people, that's a clear sign. God gives you the Holy Spirit for a reason. It ain't just, oh, I had a feeling. No, baby, it's the leadings of God. Okay, that's not a word, leadings. It's there for a reason. If you feel like, I don't know if I should trust this person, set that boundary and walk in it. Don't be sitting chatting in the office or wherever you are. So, boundary setting. It starts with love. We're on this journey to self-love together. I'm here for you. Thank you so much for tuning in to Essence of Shar, and I hope you set a boundary. Be sure to like, share, subscribe down below. All right? Thanks. Love y'all.